Today we are in the town of Wapello, Iowa, population 2,084, to see what it's really like to live in a rural food desert. So if you guys have never heard of the term food desert before, it's defined in a couple of different ways, but here in rural Iowa, it is defined as a place that is greater than 10 miles away from the largest grocery store. So I am here in the town of Wapello today to share with you guys what it's really like to shop for food and plan a meal for my family without access to a large grocery store. So I'd love to know in the comments below if you guys have ever heard of the term food desert before, but it's basically described as a region where people have limited access to healthy and affordable food. This could be because of low income or having to travel farther to find nutritious food options. In an urban area, at least 33% of the population must live more than 1 mile from the nearest large grocery store, and in rural areas, a third of the population must live more than 10 miles from the nearest large grocery store to qualify as a food desert. It is theorized that people who live in food deserts are forced to shop at local convenience stores where it's hard to find healthy groceries. A proposed solution is to advocate for the opening of supermarkets in these neighborhoods, which are thought to encourage better eating. People living in food deserts may be at a higher risk of diet-related conditions such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and other weight-related concerns. Since people living in food deserts have limited access to healthy and nutritious food, they may become more reliant on food retailers and fast food restaurants, which offer affordable but a limited and less healthy variety of foods. The closest large grocery store to this town is 18 miles, and obviously that can be very difficult for people who either have limited resources or cannot drive. This town is very, very rural. There are no stoplights. There are no department stores. There is one gas station, I think 2 restaurants maybe in the town. And of course, we have a Dollar General. Ah, yes, the Dollar General. Dollar General locations are almost always in food deserts. According to a Market Realist report from 2017, 70% of all Dollar General stores were in areas with a population of less than 20,000 people. They have continued to grow in areas that struggle economically, targeting households that earn $40,000 or less per year as their base customer. As of 2019, only 3% of Dollar Generals carried fresh produce, so those who live nearby one have fewer options for healthy food choices. The median income of this particular town is around $35,000, which means that a lot of people have limited resources in order to feed themselves and their families. So let's go inside the Dollar General and see what we can find to feed our family today. While I was doing my research project at Dollar General, I did have to stop and get gas. I want to take a quick break and thank Upside for sponsoring today's video. From cringing at the pump to getting an eye-popping check at your favorite restaurant, inflation is hitting us all where it hurts. That's why I started using Upside. You may have heard about it from some other YouTubers as well, but Upside is an incredible app for anyone who buys gas, groceries, or dines out. With every purchase, you can earn cash back thanks to Upside. The Upside app is super easy to use and it's not too good to be true. I've used it and it works. It's a no-brainer. I like to use these apps because then when I get my cash back, I could treat myself to a coffee or something like that. To get started, you can download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play Store. Use my promo code Chapin, that's CHAPIN, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Next, you can claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside, check in at the business, pay as usual with a credit or debit card, and get paid. In comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside, and you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Upside users are earning more than $1 million every week. That is crazy, and that's probably why they have a 4.8 star rating on the App Store. Once again, you can go to the link in the description box below, use promo code Chapin, and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. All right, so let's head inside the store and see what we can find. I honestly went in here not knowing at all what I would find. Well, I knew I would find a lot of junk food and processed food, but I honestly didn't know what I would find to make an actual meal for my family. Obviously, tons of non-perishables. They have beer because beer but they have tons of like chips, chocolates, candy, beef jerky. You can see here that the bread shelf is pretty bare, but they did have fresh loaves of bread and buns, 100% whole wheat bread. They also had a large supply of milk, which was nice. They also had other dairy things like eggs and butter. Of course, tons of snack cakes and candy. They also had a pretty good supply of canned food. I wouldn't say they really had a lot of fruits and vegetables in cans, but they did have some. They had, corn tortillas, refried beans, flour tortillas, different things like that. And so as I was searching through, it honestly took me a little bit to kind of come up with what I was going to make, because I wanted to make it like a semi-balanced meal and not just have, processed ingredients. They did have coffee, which I thought was nice as well. So what I ended up doing was deciding to make chicken enchiladas. They actually did have a pretty good supply of, well, for a Dollar General, I would say, canned goods and frozen meat. So I did decide to go with that. And then I'm going to be making some Spanish rice from scratch, some Instant Pot refried beans from scratch, and some chicken enchiladas. But I also think that this is something that a lot of people might be uncomfortable with, is cooking from scratch, right? So I still think that even if you're going to the Dollar General to buy your groceries, and let's say you're not an experienced home cook or you don't feel comfortable cooking things from scratch, that's still going to be a limitation for those folks, right? And they're probably going to gravitate towards more of those processed foods, the frozen pizzas, frozen chicken nuggets, hot dogs, those type of things. So I did pick up some chicken breast. They had that for $5 a pound, and you can see that the ground beef was $6 a pound. Ouch. Okay, so that was a very interesting exercise. I spent just on this one meal that I'm gonna cook $37.75, which I feel like is very excessive, obviously, for one meal. But I'll show you what I got when I get home. Obviously, no fresh produce in there. There's some like fresh dairy, frozen meats, things like that. So I feel like I did the best I could, but that price is crazy for one meal. Okay, so I'm back and I want to show you guys what I got at Dollar General. But as I was going through the store and trying to find things to make, I did not go in with a plan. And so I basically just needed to see what they had and go off of that. Trying to feed your family a healthy meal with fruits and veggies isn't really gonna happen at the Dollar General. And I just kept thinking how privileged I am and how privileged we should feel to have access to a grocery store like all the time. Because I kind of felt like I was shopping with like one hand tied behind my back in a way, because I'm so used to just being able to be like, oh, I'm gonna make salad, so let me go get all of the ingredients for salad, or I'm gonna make something with fresh fruit, let me go get all the ingredients. So anyway, let me share what I got with you and what I'm planning on making. Okay, so all of these ingredients were $37.75 at Dollar General, and I priced them at Walmart also. If I was able to go to Walmart and get these ingredients, it would be $29.50. So it's about $8 cheaper at Walmart, which doesn't seem like that much for one trip, but if you add that up over many, meals and weeks and months, it's pretty significant. So I did decide to get a bag of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. This came out to $5 a pound. It was about $9.95 for this 2-pound bag. They also had ground beef there, which the ground beef was, I want to say, around $6 a pound. So that was significantly more expensive. So I decided to go with the chicken. My plan is to make chicken enchiladas with pinto beans or refried beans and Spanish rice. I got some soft taco shells. These are the La Banderita brand. I want to say these were $2.50 there. I did get some bacon, and this isn't necessary, but I do like to put bacon grease in my refried beans. That's pretty traditional. So this will not all be used, obviously, for this meal. I'll just use what I need, and I'll have leftovers for the rest. I got a packet of taco seasoning for the chicken, some Colby Jack cheese that I'm going to shred up myself. This was also more expensive by quite a bit than I can get it at Walmart. I got a pound of pinto beans, These are actually, I think, the same price at Walmart for a pound of pinto beans, $1. So these were much cheaper than buying the regular can of refried beans, which was a larger can. I think it was over $2. I got some rotel to put in the chicken, some chicken broth for both the rice and the enchilada sauce. I got some tomato sauce for the Spanish rice, some tomato paste for the enchilada sauce, and then I wanted some fruit to go with this meal because I'm like, normally I would have fresh fruit on the side. My kids, you know, eat it all the time. We have it as a side for dinner. Of course, they didn't have any fresh produce, so I got 2 cans of pineapple chunks, 2 containers of mandarin oranges, so I'm just gonna kind of make up a little fruit salad. I got some sour cream, a bag of rice for the Spanish rice, and the other thing I thought is that what if I wanted lettuce to put on my enchiladas, or tomatoes, or olives like I normally do? So what I did is when I went to Casey's to get gas, I went inside and I thought maybe they have some produce there. Well, they had a salad. So this is probably not something that you would want to buy on a regular basis because this was $5.99. I actually don't have my receipt. I think it was either $5.99 or $6.99. And I thought at least I could get this and then I could have some lettuce and tomatoes to put on the top of the enchiladas. So we'll kind of disassemble this. Obviously not a very budget friendly way to buy lettuce and tomatoes, but when you are in a food desert, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna start with making the chicken for the enchiladas. So I've got my Instant Pot here. You can use a slow cooker. I am doing this a little bit later in the day than I thought I would, but it's fine, we'll use the Instant Pot. So I'm gonna pour in my rotel. If you don't have rotel, just use taco seasoning and some water, it's fine. And you will need some water in the Instant Pot if you don't want it to burn. So I'm just gonna fill this up with water, dump it in. Water added, give it a stir just to combine everything. How long are we gonna cook this? Let's see what it says, poultry. Oh, that's too much. Let's do, what is it doing? Okay, we're just gonna do high pressure for 9 minutes. I think that will be sufficient. Okay, so we got dueling Instant Pots here. My chicken's cooking in this one. I'm using this one to make my refried beans. So I put 4 strips of bacon in the bottom of there. And like I said, this part is optional, but since they had it, I'm gonna show you guys how to make refried beans with bacon. So we're gonna leave that bacon grease in the bottom of there with all the drippings. Okay, so I poured my chicken stock in there, 4 cups of that. And if I had been able to purchase onion and jalapeno at the Dollar General, I would have added that as well, but I could not, so we're just gonna use seasonings from the cupboard. I'm gonna add 3 cups of water, so 7 cups of liquid total. And I'm gonna go ahead and add my 1 pound of pinto beans. I'll link this recipe down below, by the way. These have been rinsed and sorted, which just means I picked out any of the yucky ones. Since we don't have fresh onion, we're just gonna use some seasonings from our pantry. So minced onion. I've got seasonings in here, salt, garlic powder, oregano, what else? Cayenne and bay leaves. And then we're gonna cook these on high pressure for 45 minutes. Okay, so after the chicken was done cooking, I just kind of let it sit in here and do a natural pressure release, but you can see that it's super tender. I can just kind of shred it apart with my fork. So I'm just gonna do that and leave this on keep warm. Okay, so I'm gonna start the Spanish rice. I've got some vegetable oil in a skillet here, and I'm just gonna add 2 cups of my white rice. And I need to get a spoon, but I'm just gonna saute this until it's golden brown. Okay, so this is toasted. We're gonna go ahead and add our chicken broth. Okay, I'm gonna add my tomato sauce, some cumin, just a little bit. And then the recipe calls for garlic pepper, which I have on hand, but if you don't have that, you could just use some pepper and some garlic powder. By the way, one of my subscribers sent this to me. I'm sorry, I can't remember who you are right now, but thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a lid on this, and we're gonna simmer it for 30 to 40 minutes on really low heat. Okay, so for my enchilada sauce, I'm gonna use this recipe from Simply Mama Cooks. It's for just red sauce. So here are the ingredients. In this saucepan, I've got 5 tablespoons of cooking oil, 6 tablespoons of flour. I'm just gonna whisk those together. Added 1 tablespoon of the tomato paste. I'm gonna whisk that in. Next, I'm adding chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, and cumin. And I'm gonna add 3.5 cups of chicken broth. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and shred up my cheese. And like I said before, they did have shredded cheese there, but I decided to purchase this because it always melts a little bit better, I find, if you shred it yourself. And then I'm gonna disassemble this salad and chop everything up. Okay, so back to our enchilada sauce. You can see that it's thickened up really well. I tasted it, added some salt, really good. So don't be afraid to make homemade enchilada sauce. Super, honestly, easy, very few ingredients, and it tastes so much better. Okay, so in this baking dish, I put some enchilada sauce in there, and I've got 4 tortillas. I'm gonna make some of these into enchiladas, and some of them are just gonna have tacos because that's what the kids prefer. So I'm just gonna fill these with chicken and roll them up. Okay, so I've got the oven set at 375. I'm gonna pop these enchiladas in there. Big for 20 minutes covered, 20 minutes without the cover, and then let them rest for 20 minutes. It's just so they kind of firm up a little bit. And then this is how much enchilada sauce I have left. I'm probably just gonna stick this in the refrigerator, and then I can make enchiladas again next week, like maybe beef enchiladas, but you could also freeze it. It's great to have on hand. And also my beans are done, so those are just kind of sitting here resting. What I'm gonna do is take 2 cups of liquid out of here and set it aside, and then I'll start mashing the beans up and add extra liquid as needed. And that's all refried beans is. It's just mashed up pinto beans with seasoning. And sometimes I have to add like extra salt, extra garlic powder, it just depends. Boom. Dollar General enchiladas. Okay, so these just came out of the oven. They're super hot. I'm gonna put the foil back on them and let them rest. I also wanted to let you guys know that the Spanish rice turned out so good. I have such a hard time making rice, but that recipe is a keeper. And then I also wrapped up my tortillas. Yes, that's a joke. So I'm gonna stick these in the oven to warm up. You guys ready to make fruit salad? Bam, done. Okay, so we've got our rice, Spanish rice. It turned out really good. Our shredded cheese, I warmed up some tortillas in this foil. And we've got our homemade refried beans, shredded chicken, sour cream, tomatoes, olives, lettuce, enchiladas, and fruit salad.
Are they good enchiladas or are they
yummy, yummy? They're chicken with red sauce. Is that okay?
Yeah, the green one's
Okay, so here is how our dinner turned out. We had the chicken enchiladas, the kids had shredded chicken tacos, refried beans, and rice. I had a ton of leftovers. Honestly, I feel like I could have fed 8 people with this particular meal. So, you know, saying that it cost $37 for 4 people probably isn't accurate. Either way, I found out that it's pretty difficult to make a balanced meal out of the ingredients found at Dollar General. But I had fun trying this, and it was a good illustration of just how privileged we are if we have access to a large grocery store with fresh produce. Also, don't forget, you guys, to check out Upside. I'll have that link in the description box below, along with my code Chapin that you can use. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.